In his novel, The Ball and the Cross, Chesterton stages a long debate between an atheist named Turnbull and a Catholic named MacIan. Turnbull, who considers himself a free thinker, regularly publishes a blasphemous newspaper called The Atheist, and yet he cannot manage to get a rise out of anyone. But one day the devout MacIan reads one of Turnbull's grossly anti-Catholic statements, something to the effect that the story of the Virgin Mary is merely borrowed from a pagan cult where the god figure seduced a young maiden. MacIan knows when his mother's been insulted, and he goes and he confronts Turnbull and challenges him to an affair of honor, that is, a duel. Turnbull's pleased that he's finally been taken seriously and accepts the challenge. The problem, however, is that dueling is illegal, and the two gentlemen can never find a place to safely fight one another without being interrupted by the local law enforcement. And so they scramble across the country trying to carry out their physical duel, all the while carrying on a philosophical duel.
It is the heretics and the skeptics that have helped the world forward and handed on a lamp of progress.
Nothing is plainer from real history than that each of your heretics invented a complete cosmos of his own, which the next heretic smashed entirely to pieces. Who knows now exactly what Nestorius taught? Who cares? There are only two things that we know for certain about it. The first is that Nestorius, as a heretic, taught something quite opposite to the teaching of Arius, the heretic who came before him. And something quite useless to you, James Turnbull, the heretic who comes after. I defy you to go back to the freethinkers of the past and find any habitation for yourself at all. You are an atheist, and you praise the deists of the 18th century. Read them instead of praising them, and you will find that their whole universe stands or falls with the deity. You are a materialist, and you think Bruno a scientific hero. See what he said, and you will think him an insane mystic. No, the great freethinker does not destroy Christianity. He destroys the freethinker who came before him. Free thought may be inspiring, it may be suggestive, but there is one thing free thought can never be, by any possibility. Free thought can never be progressive. It can never be progressive because it will accept nothing from the past. It begins every time again from the beginning, and it goes every time in a different direction.
Rubbish.
Tell me, which rational philosophers do you consider progressive?
Emerson, Schopenhauer.
Emerson was an optimist. Schopenhauer a pessimist. Who can discuss whether Emerson was a better optimist than Schopenhauer was a pessimist? It is like asking if this corn is as yellow as that hill is steep. No, there are only two things that really progress, and they both accept accumulations of authority. They may be growing steadily better or steadily worse, but they have steadily advanced in a certain definable direction. They have steadily increased in a certain definable way. They are the only two things, it seems, that ever can progress. The first is strictly physical science, and the second is the Catholic Church.
Physical science and the Catholic Church? But the Church has always been the persecutor of science.
A generalization which you base upon a very vague understanding of Galileo, no doubt. Whereas the truth of the matter is, science owes much to the Church. In fact, I would not at all be surprised if, when counting the scientific investigations and discoveries since the fall of Rome, you found that a great mass of them had been made by monks. But that is entirely irrelevant to what I'm saying. I say that if you want an example of anything which has progressed in the moral world by the same methods as science in the material world, by continually adding to, without unsettling what was there before, then I say that there is only one example of it, and that is us.
With this enormous difference, the results of physical science can be tested. That granted, it took millions of books I never read and millions of men I never heard of to discover the electric light. Still, I can see the electric light. but I cannot see the supreme virtue which is the result of all your theologies and sacraments.
Catholic virtue is often invisible because it is the normal.
The normal sometimes is invisible, only because we don't notice the normal things. We don't notice normal things because we're used to them. Water, bread, wine, oil, marriage. These are normal things. We have to stop occasionally and realize their enormous significance. We have to make special note of them in very special acts to see their sacramental qualities. Because what is holy is what is normal. What is holy is the divine order. Whatever goes against that order, whatever departs from that order, is abnormal. Virtue is normal, vice is abnormal.